Food Safety Practice Test, Part 1. Which level of government should be consulted when making food safety decisions, listing the most important? First, resource to last resource. D. Local, state, federal. What pathogen is the greatest risk found in raw chicken? D. Salmonella. The model for food safety standards is based on a system called C. Haphazard analysis and critical control points. Food safety is of particular importance for which of the following groups? B. All of these. For any workstation within a kitchen, the following articles should always be found. B. All of these. What is the first action someone should take when entering the restaurant for a work shift? C. Wash hands. To avoid foods spoiling in the refrigerator or freezer, which of the following actions is always recommended? D. Placing a date of arrival on all foods. The minimum internal temperature at which poultry products should always be cooked is D. 165 degrees Fahrenheit. When you are not feeling well and have a sore throat or diarrhea, you should B. Stay at home. The danger zone for biological growth in food is defined as C. 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The three categories of food contaminants are best described as D. Chemical, biological, and physical hazards. Foods should not be kept in the danger zone for more than A. 4 hours. The correct time to wash your hands is after which one of the following events? C. All of these. Which of the following is considered a proper food contact surface? B. Stainless steel surface. If a customer chokes on a piece of food, the following action can help. B. Heimlich maneuver. To help employees understand the local ordinances of food safety, the following actions are recommended. D. Post signs that detail the basic food safety techniques. Some signs of rodent infestation include B. All of these. To determine if your chemical sanitizing buckets in the kitchen are of the correct potency, you should A. Use chemical test strips. Foods that have a water activity of 0.85 or above are considered D. Potentially hazardous foods. Hand sanitizers are an acceptable form of hand sanitation because B. It is not an acceptable form of hand sanitation. Which of the following sources of food is not acceptable to serve in a restaurant? A. Home preserved foods. In a kitchen refrigerator, the following order is an acceptable order to store goods, listed from lowest point in the refrigerator to highest point. B. Poultry, meat, vegetables. The presence of microorganisms is a form of B. Biological hazard. Potentially hazardous cold foods must be kept at an internal temperature of or lower to prevent rapid bacteria growth. C. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. You have just finished cutting raw chicken on your cutting board and your next task is to cut onions for a raw salad. What steps should be taken before cutting the raw onion? C. Wash, rinse, and sanitize the cutting board. Foods that are decomposed or produced in unsanitary conditions are considered B. Adulterated foods. Wiping cloths stored in a sanitary bucket with the proper amount of sanitation solution are for B. Wiping spills. Bacteria, viruses, parasites, and mold are all causes of foodborne illnesses. What is the other cause of foodborne illnesses? B. Toxic contamination. The pathogen most associated with undercooked beef, especially hamburger, is D. E. coli. The minimum cooking temperature for raw pork in a restaurant environment is D. 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Which one of the listed types of thermometers is not permitted in a restaurant kitchen for use as a cooking temperature indicator? A. Pop-up thermometer. Of the following listed items, which is not permitted for employees to wear in a restaurant kitchen? D. Jewelry. When cleaning dishes, glassware, or silverware in a restaurant, which of the following orders of cleaning is the proper order to ensure clean eating utensils? B. Wash, rinse, sanitize. Of the following listed foods, which category requires you to save and store tags related to the date and place of origin? A. Clams and oysters. If a food falls on the floor, what is the proper action to take? A. Throw the food out. Foods that are left in the danger zone for more than 4 hours are most often associated with which type of foodborne illness? C. Clostridium perfringens. A package of opened hot dogs should only be used for no more than which amount of days? C. 1 week. The two categories of microbial-induced foodborne illness can be described through the following two terms. A. Infection and intoxication. At what temperature maximum should your refrigerator be kept at all times? C. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Which of the following methods is not a proper method for defrosting frozen meat? D. Defrosting on a countertop. Which of the following federal agencies is responsible for the regulation of meat and poultry products within the United States? A. USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture. Which of the following foods is considered a potentially hazardous food? C. Strawberries. Which of the following is an example of a biological contaminant? C. Norovirus in shellfish. Which of the following actions can cause foods to become unsafe? B. All of these. The minimum cooking temperature for foods containing raw eggs is C. 160 degrees Fahrenheit. It is the middle of a service and your walk-in refrigerator has broken down. You call the repairman to fix the problem. How much time can the foods in the refrigerator hold, above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, before you need to throw them away? B. 2 hours. To ensure you are using your thermometer properly, you should insert the thermometer into cooking meat. B. Until the line on the thermometer is completely inserted. Foods that have a pH of 4.6 or above are considered B. Potentially hazardous foods. To ensure that all foods susceptible to foodborne illness are maintained at a proper temperature, which of the following areas require some form of temperature monitoring? A. All of these. By following the 4 listed procedures, you can help reduce the chances of foodborne illness in your restaurant. Which listed 4 procedures is the correct list? D. Clean, separate, cook, chill. A worker at a French bistro comes into work with a sore throat and fever. The correct action for the manager to take is C. Send the worker home. To reduce the chances of foodborne illness from becoming a problem on glassware, all glassware should be held by which part of the glass? C. Stem. A restaurant should react to a backup of raw sewage by taking the following actions. A. All of these. Which item has not been stored properly? A. Flour stored on the floor. To ensure that cross-contamination does not occur, the following steps can assist. B. Using different colored cutting boards for raw meats and veggies. The correct amount of bleach to add to 1 quart of water for a properly prepared sanitation bucket is A. 1 teaspoon. The following cleaning utility should be kept at all stations to ensure that all spills and food particles are removed during the course of a service. B. Paper towels. While chopping vegetables, a kitchen worker cuts his hand. The proper process for the worker to follow is B. Wash the wound, bandage, then place a glove on the hand and return to work. hand washing stations should include all of the following except A. Cloth towel. Hands should be washed with water and soap for at least how long? B. 20 seconds. Perishable foods should not be left at room temperature for more than C. 2 hours. A restaurant advertises that its soup is homemade. This means that the soup should be D. Made in the restaurant. Which of the following is a potentially hazardous food? D. Ice cream. To what temperature should leftover foods be heated before serving to customers on the following day? D. 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Salmonella poisoning is most often associated with the following source. A. Undercooked eggs and poultry. To avoid any chance of foodborne illness due to fry oil, the optimal frequency of changing fry oil is B. Every night. The cold storage time for ground beef in a refrigerator set to 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below is C. 1 to 2 days. Which event could lead to the contamination of food? B. Storing chemicals on top of rice. Potentially hazardous foods must be cooled from 140 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit in 2 hours and from 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 40 degrees Fahrenheit in how many hours? A. 4 hours. Which of the following foods have a safe minimum internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit or below? C. All of these. An employee is cutting meat on a deli slicer. Which of the following actions can lead to the contamination of food? A. All of these. All of the following will affect the sanitation ability of a diluted sanitizer except C. Dipping test strips into the sanitation solution. When you are receiving a food order from one of your suppliers, it is important to B. Check the internal temperature of potentially hazardous foods. Which of the following is not an acceptable way of cooling a soup in a kitchen? D. In a refrigerator or on a counter in a cool area of the restaurant until 40 degrees Fahrenheit is achieved. Which of the following is an example of a physical hazard found in food? B. Chicken bones. Of the bacteria listed, which one is commonly linked to cooked rice? B. Bacillus cereus. A worker in your restaurant spends the entire 8-hour shift shaping hamburger patties. How often should the employee change his or her gloves? A. Every hour.